Who is the deadliest alpha Pokemon in all of Pokemon Legends Arceus? Today we rank all of the alpha Pokemon from the least deadly to the most devastating. We're going to be looking at the moves they use in the overworld. Do they lunge at you? Do they shoot beams of energy? And also, how strong are they if you actually battle them? All of this will come together in a scoring system when I score all of the alpha Pokemon based on how deadly they are. Let's get into the first one. First up, we have Bibarel. He's sitting here right next to the beach, next to a bunch of other Bidoofs and Bibarel, looking pretty scary. And this man wants to eat you like he eats the nuts, alright? So he's very, very slow. This Pokemon is not a fast one, not one bit. He is pretty weak too, because he just has this rollout attack, which is a very, very slow lunge attack that anyone could dodge. I mean, you don't even have to run or do a jump or a roll. You can literally just walk and dodge his attack very easily. It's very hard to get hit by him. He has no allies around him, but he does have a water pulse, so he switches it up. And the water pulse is a lot more deadly than the rollout because it homes. That thing will hunt you down, and it will do pretty decent damage too. If you end up fighting against Bibarel, his moveset is pretty easy to get around. He has rollout, and he has water pulse. Rollout, of course, locks him into rollout, which makes it pretty easy to switch out to a different Pokemon and get him good. He's a 6 out of 10. He's not weak, but he's definitely not super strong. The water pulse can get you, but that rollout is so predictable, and he's a pretty easy Pokemon to KO in a battle. Next up, we have Graveler over here by the water, and Graveler is pretty interesting because this man does not move. He stays sturdy the entire time, not moving. He's incredibly slow. But it doesn't matter because his earth attack is so strong, it homes you, and it's very, very hard to dodge. It homes you even stronger than the water pulse does, and you have to run very fast, constantly dodging and rolling in order to get around from it. In terms of a battle, he has Stone Edge, and that's basically it, which is a very strong rock move, but if you just have a water, fighting, grass Pokemon, any of those will be able to take care of him really easily. Graveler's a pretty deadly alpha Pokemon in the Pokemon universe. That thing really can track you down, do a lot of damage. Also, he has Zubats and other Pokemon in the area helping him out. It's a 7 out of 10. He's pretty strong. Next up, we got Kricketune. Now, this dude is surprisingly really weak because he looks very menacing with those big glowing eyes, but he just lunges at you with what I believe is double edge, and it just is very easy to dodge. It's faster than Bibarel was with his rollout, but this is very predictable. It's just one straight line, and you can dodge it really easily. Also, there's no one else here in the battle, okay, so no one else is tripping you up, and it's a pretty flat land, so it's very easy to dodge. In terms of the battle, his moveset's decent. He's got X Scissors and Night Slash, but he's an easy bug to fry. 3 out of 10. Now let's go over here to this canyon where, we have this dude. Parasect is a monster. He is definitely the strongest of all the alpha Pokemon at the start of the game because he will get ya. He has so much AoE area damage where you can just get hit by any poison anywhere. Also, you have these rocks all over the area that make it very hard to roll and dodge because the rocky area is going to trip you up. And then also, there's a bunch of Parasects, little baby Parasects, surrounding him that shoot out poison too. So even if you dodge him, you're going to get hit by a different little bug. And then when you battle him, Paras is going to hit you too. And Parasect has Sleep Powder that will put you to sleep, and then it'll hit you with a Venoshock. He's very deadly, and he's actually a 10 out of 10 for me. He's got allies that will hurt you. He's got poison that will poison you, actually hurt you with poison. He's really deadly. Next up, we have Floatzel. Floatzel is over here on this little ledge on a hill next to the water, and he's got 2 Buizel's right next to him that's helping him out. That really does add a lot of damage to you because they are doing these Aqua Jet movements that are super fast. Meanwhile, Floatzel is shooting these water pulses at you that are, of course, homing. So you roll down this hill. It's kind of hard because the water pulse goes down the hill with you. It will home down the hill. So it's actually pretty freaking deadly, especially with the Weasels shooting Aqua Jets at you. In terms of the actual battle, Floatzel is pretty weak just because he's a pure water type. There's very little variety to his moveset. He just got Crunch and Water Pulse, so you bring an Electric, you bring a Grass, that thing is dead on the ground. I'm giving Floatzel a 7 out of 10. In partnership with the Weasels, he's actually pretty dangerous. Next up, we have Staravia down the hill, down the mountain over here. Also has 2 Weasels helping him out, but Staravia is not Floatzel. This Pokemon has a very weird move. Air Slash shoots out a bunch of beams of energy in random directions, and it's pretty easy to avoid because the beams are so small. It's just a little weird because they are randomly shot out. It also has a Brave Bird attack, or I'm guessing it's Aerial Ace, that's very easy to dodge. The Weasels also shoot out Swifts, which are little stars, which are pretty cute, but they're also pretty easy to avoid. Staravia is a very easy Pokemon to battle because it's not fully evolved, its stats are pretty weak. You can literally bring anything into the battle and you'll probably win. 2 out of 10. Next up, we're looking all over the region for Goldbat because he's hiding in Ouroboros Tunnel, according to my research, but I couldn't find him anywhere. It's because he only shows up at night. Duh. So he's screaming, he's yelling at me, but what does this man have to do in the battlefield? Is he as deadly as he looks when you're running around Pokemon? No. Not really, because all he has is this lunge attack, which is very big vertically because he's shooting from the sky and it goes all the way down from the sky, but it's very easy to dodge. He also has these drift blooms that are shooting confusions and hypnosises, which if you really don't notice, they might hit you and they can put you to sleep and hurt you. But it's not really doing too much. And then he has this different Air Slash. It's different than Staravia's because this one is 1 beam of energy, but it completely homes you and follows you. And it's even better homing than Water Pulse. It really lasts a while and it curves everywhere and it's really big. It's really dangerous. Golbat's actually pretty scary on the battlefield because he has a lot of variety with his attacks. But when you actually battle him one-on-one with your Pokemon, he's not too strong. He's a flying type that really only has Air Slash, and he's also a dark type, but he doesn't really have any good dark type moves. Also, he's not fully evolved into a Crobat, so his stats are kind of weak. I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. Next up, we have this big old Rapidash. This man might scare you when you start off the game because he's so big and so fast. But in reality, he's not that deadly. His moves are very easy to dodge. He has this Confusion, which is super easy to dodge because you're on a gigantic field of grass that you can really dodge anything. You're not really trapped by any natural landmarks or anything. And then he has Flare Blitz, which is a very, very easy to dodge vertical lunge, which just shoots in one direction. All you gotta do is walk a little to the left and Rapidash will not be hurting you. Confusion's pretty interesting because it will put you to sleep. It actually has a very strong moveset. Hyper Beam, it has Fire Blast. It has a pretty wide set of moves that really hit heavy, and it also has Hypnosis that will put your Pokemon to sleep, and then it'll burn it with Fire Blast. Like, it's a pretty deadly Pokemon when you battle it, but in the overworld, it's not that deadly. It's not that deadly. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10 because it's really hard for this thing to kill you. Next up, we have this Luxio. I find it really interesting how many Pokemon aren't fully evolved but are Alpha Pokemon, and this one is not that scary. It's very much undeadly. It will not kill you. You will have a very hard time to die by this thing because it has this Thunder Wave attack. Really gigantic defensive shield. It almost looks he has a electric force field around him, but it's very easy to dodge because, well, it's just a little force field around him. It doesn't lunge at you, it doesn't trace you, and then when you battle the Pokemon, it's really weak because it's a Luxio. It's not a Luxray. Its stats are pretty low, and its moveset's pretty weak. It's easy to take down. You will not die by this Luxio. 2 out of 10. Next up, right at this beautiful paradise-looking area at the very end of Obsidian Fieldlands, we have Mommy Lopunny, Alpha Lopunny. She's huge, and it's a big meme, and people love her, but is she that deadly? Well, she hops, and the hop is hilarious, but she's more so a meme than a killer, I'll say that much, because all she has is this very, very predictable forward shot of a lunge that is extremely easy to dodge. I mean, you're gonna want to jump in front of this thing in order to get hit by it. Like, there is no way it's gonna hit you unless you want it to hit you, which I don't know, some of you might want her to hit you, but not me. It's very easy to dodge. Now, when you battle her, she's actually pretty tough. She's got close combat and she hits really hard, but she's not deadly. Extremely predictable. I'm gonna give her a 3 out of 10. Very weak. Cyther is in the middle of all these trees, which makes it very hard to dodge attacks by him because, you know, the trees kind of close you in, and if you roll wrong into one, you can get hit by. He has an air slash, just like Staravia had, where it just shoots out a bunch of beams in random directions. Now, differently than Staravia was in a very flat land. This is very hilly, and you have trees all around you, which makes it kind of deadly. Also, he's very slow and has no allies around him, while, you know, other Pokemon like Parasect did. And in terms of battling, he's kind of strong. He has Sword Stance and Air Slash with Pack-to-Punch, but not enough. 3 out of 10 for Cyther. Up here, up this mountain, we have this Stantler, who looks super intimidating. Like, this thing looks very scary, and he's actually a pretty big menace. Don't take his thick legs for nothing. This man has practiced at the gym and lunges at you super fast with a Giga Impact, or maybe that's Zen Headbutt, but that's not it. The second you're trying to get rid of him by dodging his Zen Headbutts, he shoots this, like, really weird psychic grass-looking beam of energy that blows up into a big circle. Also, you're in the middle of a plateau, which makes it very hard to roll away from things. He's kind of deadly, and also, he has a lot of really strong, heavy-hitting psychic moves when you battle him, but if you bring in a dark Pokemon, he's literally useless because all he has is psychic moves. He's pretty easy to beat in the Pokemon battle, but his moves in the overworld are pretty deadly. I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10. Next up, this is probably one of the first ones you see when you play the game, Snorlax. He takes up so much terrain. Someone should really have him pay taxes because he's taking up a lot of property. And he is looking pretty scary, but is his moveset that scary? I mean, you can literally stand behind him and he won't notice. Like, this man is the size of a whole entire house that you see in Jubilife City. But the thing is, he is really deadly. And if you let him hit you, he will get you good. So he has a lunge attack, which I've said previously, they're very predictable, easy to dodge. Now with Snorlax, because Snorlax is 5 times the size of all the other Pokemon that have lunged at you previously. The thing is, you're by water, and he won't get into water. I don't know, he doesn't want to get his feet wet, I don't understand. So if you go in the water, you're safe, until he brings out a Hyper Beam out of nowhere. That really shook me. I didn't know that's what was going to happen. He loads up the beam, and then the second it's loaded, it shoots out instantly. The second it's done loading, it just blasts in front of you. And it's huge. It's dense. It's wide. That thing will hit you, and it will instantly put blood all over your screen. That means you're about to die. And then also, when he lunges at you, he kind of homes a little bit too. He kind of chases you a little bit. He has a little bit of a twist and turn going there. And it's very hard to dodge because you're around a bunch of rocks, so it kind of traps you in. And then when you battle him, he is a menace. The Hyper Beam hits hard. The high horsepower hits hard. This man is out for blood. In this game, Hyper Beam doesn't waste a second turn. Also, he's super bulky, so it's really hard to kill him. I'm going to give him a 9 out of 10. He's deadly. Next, through the fields, through a bunch of trees at the very edge of the right side of the map, we have Heracross. Heracross is one of the coolest Pokemon in the world. I think a lot of people can agree with that. And he is really, really weak in the overworld. He is not going to hurt you. When you're traveling on your feet, walking around, you don't even need the horse or the deer. I mean, you don't need any of the Pokemon to travel with. You can just walk and dodge his move extremely fast. The area he's in is extremely wide, and flat, you can really dodge him extremely easily without even thinking about it, because you can see him from a mile away and you know exactly where he's going to end up. And this is his only attack. He doesn't switch it up with anything else like some of the other lungers do. He just lunges. And also, he gets trapped really easily. Look, he got trapped right behind this tree. He couldn't even reach out to me. I mean, it was pretty... I know it's a glitch, so I shouldn't hold it against him. But the area he's in is very, very, very easy to dodge. Also, in the battle, he's decent. He's got double edge. But he's a bug-type Pokemon with relatively low stats. I'm going to give him a 2 out of 10. This man is not deadly at all. Next up, we're going into the water where we fight our first water Pokemon that is a Alpha Pokemon, and it's Magikarp. Now, Magikarp has been a meme since the day he existed for being extremely weak and his only move being Splash. Is he any more deadly in the water here as a very high-leveled Alpha Pokemon? Well, he also lunges, which is pretty predictable on land. Yeah, in the water, this thing is actually really hard to dodge because you are stuck on the Basculegion and you are on water, and this thing charges at you fast. And not only does it charge at you fast, but it tracks you down. So the only way to dodge a lunging Magikarp is to be holding down the B button and going really fast, or else that thing will hit you. Though a big con is when it does hit you, it does very little damage. I mean, you're going to have this thing hit you 10 times in order to see blood. So it's not that deadly. And then you throw a Pokeball at this thing, it's an insta win. It is an instant win because he's level 55 and you'd think he'd at least have one little move. No, all he has is Splash. So literally you can bring your level 4 Bidoof and it will win eventually against this thing, which is kind of funny. I'm going to give him a 2 out of 10. He's actually one of the most dangerous lungers, but sadly, no damage attached. Okay, next we're going to see what happens when Magikarp evolves into a Big Daddy Gyarados. I'm a little scared. This is actually my first time going to see a Gyarados in here in Lake Verity. And wow, this thing is super fast in the water. It's really menacing. Who decided to give this thing the ground attack that Graveler has? That ground attack that tracks you down in the water. It's super hard to see because you're in the water and you're shooting out water right behind you with Basculegion, and you can't really see because of all the wake you're pushing. So the ground attack is like chasing you and you have to hold down the B button or else it will hit you, but you can't really see it that well with the way the sun shines on the water too. So it's very, very deadly. It tracks you down, and then when you are sick of that, he has a Hydro Pump that shoots super fast and hits really hard. It's like a faster version of Snorlax's Hyper Beam. It hits really fast, and it's really scary because Gyarados can chase you down in the water, unlike any other Pokemon can in the overworld. This thing really does chase you down like it's a shark, and you have very much a ton of blood all over you, and it can sniff you out. In terms of the battle, he's really deadly too. He's got Hydro Pump, which is super heavy hitting. He's level 60. Oh, she's level 60. She's got a Hydro Pump that's super deadly and very, very scary. All of the moves hit very hard and very fast, and it's a very fast Pokemon too. I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. Gyarados is super deadly, both in the overworld and in the battle. Now we got Alakazam, which is pretty scary because he's got those two spoons. He's looking at you with a big, thick mustache. But he's not the strongest Alpha Pokemon, nor the deadliest, but he's pretty decent. He's got this Giga Impact / Zen Headbutt, the same thing that the deer had earlier. But it's a little bit scary because it has so much particle effects attached to it, and if you touch any of the particles, you will get hit. So there's a bit of range there that the other Pokemon lack, that lunge. And he has a second move that really switches it up because you don't expect it after he's lunging at you. I think it's like maybe Psychic or Psyblast, Psybeam, something like that it's modeled after. It's this big gigantic ball of psychic power that chases you and then shoots down to the ground. So it's pretty hard to dodge and it hits pretty hard. In terms of the battle, all he really does is Psychic, which again, you bring a dark Pokemon to the battle and it's going to, you know, be completely useless. Alakazam also doesn't have the best defense stats. There's also a chance Luxios in the area will find you and see you, and it could join in and fight you. So I'm going to give Alakazam a 7 out of 10. Next up, we have this Drift Blim, which I forgot to get to earlier. Drift Blim is a Pokemon you only see at night, and it has other Drift Blim alongside it, which kind of makes it a little scary. It has that psychic grass looking explosion that the deer had, and it also shoots out Swifts. It's pretty easy to dodge because the stars of the Swift are super small. Do shoot out in random directions like the Air Slash did, but it doesn't do that much damage, and fighting this thing is very easy because it doesn't really have that killer of a moveset. So Drift Blim is a 3 out of 10 for me. Now we're soaring and flying across all of the beautiful Hisuian region to find our next, second to last Alpha Pokemon of Obsidian Fieldlands. When all of a sudden I found a Pikachu, which wasn't on the list of Alpha Pokemon. So let's see, how strong is this Pikachu? Well, he's kind of walking around. He kind of looks like he doesn't want to fight. Like he's kind of trying to run away from us. But he eventually let out a Swift, which of course is a very easy Pokemon move to dodge. It's very easy, it's small. But then two Staravias come out of nowhere and start doing aerial laces on me, which make them a little bit more dangerous. But if you look at this Pikachu, this is like the most hands-off Alpha Pokemon in the game. Like, this one does not want to fight. It's definitely a pacifist Pikachu. And in terms of battling, it does have Play Rough on top of the electric moves, which is pretty cool for variety's sake, but it is very weak. It's an unevolved Pikachu that doesn't want to fight. It's a 2 out of 10. This thing is extremely undeadly. Alright, now let's get to the second to last Pokemon that's over here by the waterfall. This one is very intimidating because she's massive. Sisters have plenty of chances, and she might be pregnant with another one right now. This is a big old Blissy. She's actually pretty dangerous. You know, you think of Blissy as a healing Pokemon, a very bulky Pokemon that heals a bunch, not really a killer, and it's kind of a killer. The thing is, you are on this big old mountaintop, so you really don't have that many chances to dodge her attacks because you're either rolling down the mountain or rolling into the cliff. And all of a sudden, on top of having that lunge attack, Blissy has Electro Ball, which hits very fast, shoots out, and hits in 2. So she shoots out kind of 2 at a time, and it's kind of hard to dodge. And then when you fight Blissy, this is when Blissy is really a killer. Level 62, highest HP in the game, and oh my god. Okay, so it has Double Edge, which hits decently hard and takes life off of Blissy. But here's the situation, folks. She has the most annoying move in the entire game. That being Soft Boil, which recovers 50% of Blissy's HP. And Blissy has the most HP in the game, so when you heal 50% of Blissy, you're healing like 2 Pokemon's worth of HP. So when I was fighting Blissy, I had to use Dragon Pulse 10 times and then move on to different moves because she kept using Soft Boil and kept healing herself, making it almost impossible to kill. On top of it, she has Calm Mind, which boosts both attack and defense, making it even harder to kill her because she has so much defense, health, and boosted defense from the moves. So this thing is really annoying. It's pretty deadly because it is so hard to kill, and eventually it will just kill you with all the double edges. But eventually the Soft Boil, I think Soft Boil only has a PP of 10, so it can only use it 10 times. So eventually it runs out and you'll be able to kill her eventually. So I'm going to give Blissy a 7 out of 10. Pretty dangerous. Hard to battle. Hard to battle. We now fly over to the big island at the very south end of Obsidian Fieldlands, where our final alpha Pokemon lives. In Windsweep Run, we have the amazing starter Pokemon fully evolved from the original Diamond and Pearl games. We have Chimchar's final evolution, Infernape. In Raminas Island, which sounds so epic, he stomps around, beating his chest, yelling, super intimidating, but is he as deadly as he comes off? This Alpha Infernape, the highest level Alpha Pokemon in the game, in Obsidian Fieldlands that is, with level 65, firefighting, stomping around. He's actually not that deadly. You would think he would be, but all he has is this extremely predictable fast lunge, which to his credit can get you because you have these trees that, you know, could mess you up and stop you in your tracks. But all he does is lunge at high speeds. He has no fire attack. He has no flare blitz like, I feel like he should have had a flare blitz like Rapidash. And he's very fast. He runs around very fast. But if you're on the island with this thing, I mean, it's not going to kill you. Like, you can very easily dodge it. If it does somehow get you, it does do decent damage, but the chances are so low that this thing will never kill you, making Alpha Infernape one of the strongest Pokemon in the entire game, one of the least deadly, at least in the overworld. How about battling him? Is he any more deadly when you throw your Pokemon against it? Yes. His skills definitely improve once you have a Pokemon battle with it, because it hits very hard. It's got Flare Blitz, it's got close combat, very hard hitting moves, and he has very good offensive stats, making any of your Pokemon pretty vulnerable to any of his attacks. So be very careful when you battle this thing. It will be pretty difficult, but in terms of deadliness in the overworld, it's pretty low. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 10. This thing is not that deadly. Alright, now here's a complete list of all the Alpha Pokemon ranked from the weakest to the most deadly. And there you have it, all of the Alpha Pokemon ranked by how deadly they are in Obsidian Fieldlands. If you really like this video, like it and comment down below, and maybe I'll do more of all of the other fields and areas in Pokemon Legends Arceus. Ooh, ooh, ooh. See you next time. Bye.